She will look you in the eyes and lie. Not because she wants to deceive you, but because the truth living inside her mind is so dangerous, so contradictory to everything she's supposed to want that she barely admits it to herself. Arthur Schopenhauer, the German philosopher who understood human desire better than anyone, wrote that we are not driven by logic. We are driven by a blind, unconscious force he called the will. And nowhere does this will burn hotter than in the hidden fantasies of women. Today, I am going to expose the one dark fantasy she carries but will never confess. The real fantasy, the one that haunts her at night, is this. She wants to be the exception. Every woman, regardless of her background or values, carries this secret desire to be the one woman who breaks the pattern. The one woman who captures the uncatchable. She doesn't fantasize about a man who loves easily. She fantasizes about a man who loves no one until her. She doesn't want to be one of many. She wants to be the only one who mattered. This is the exception fantasy, and it explains almost everything about female desire that confuses men. Think about the last time you saw a woman obsessed with a man who treated her poorly. You probably thought she was making bad choices. But Schopenhauer would tell you something different. She is chasing the exception fantasy. Because a man who treats everyone well makes her feel ordinary. But a man who treats everyone coldly except her makes her feel chosen. Two men approach the same woman. The first is kind, complimentary, available, eager. The second is indifferent, shows interest, then pulls back, seems like he could walk away at any moment. Logic says she should choose the first man. But something pulls her toward the second. Why? Because the first man offers certainty, and certainty kills the fantasy. The second man offers the possibility of becoming his exception, and that possibility is intoxicating. The exception fantasy operates on 3 layers. The first layer is competition. She wants to win a man that other women want, but cannot have. This is why women often become more attracted to a man once they discover other women desire him. It's not jealousy, it's validation of her target. Desire creates desire. Scarcity creates obsession. But the competition she craves is not just with other women in the present. It's with every woman in his past and future. She wants to be the one he never forgets, the one who ruined him for all others. The second layer is transformation. She fantasizes about transforming a man. Not choosing someone who is already perfect, but taking a man who seems impossible, unavailable, even broken, and being the woman who changes him. This is the forbiddens layer because it contradicts everything she's told to want. Society says she should seek a man who is already emotionally available. But her fantasy runs in the opposite direction. She dreams of the man who doesn't open up to anyone opening up to her. The man who doesn't committing to her. If a man is already kind to everyone, his kindness to her is meaningless. But if a man is cold to everyone except her, if he walls off the world but lets her in, then she has proof. She is the exception. The third layer is danger. She is drawn to what might destroy her. Not consciously, but somewhere in the shadow of her psyche, danger carries an erotic charge that safety cannot match. The safe man represents survival. But the dangerous man represents aliveness, intensity, the feeling that existence itself has become vivid. And this feeling is addictive. A dangerous man poses a risk. He could hurt her. He could leave her. But if she can tame that danger, if she can be the exception to his destruction, she has accomplished something that feels transcendent. She has walked into fire and emerged not only unburned but chosen. The mechanism that makes the exception fantasy so powerful is psychological investment. When she pursues a man who is difficult, unavailable, or challenging, she invests emotion, time, and mental energy. Each investment increases her attachment, not because he has earned it, but because she has spent her resources pursuing him. The human mind cannot accept that its investments were foolish. So instead of walking away, she doubles down. The more she invests, the more attached she becomes. It's a spiral that feeds itself. And if she walks away, she doesn't just lose him. She loses that version of herself. She has to admit she was wrong, that she was ordinary, that she was not exceptional enough to succeed where others failed. The deepest truth is this. The exception fantasy is a survival mechanism. It exists because it served a purpose for thousands of generations. A man who has options demonstrates genetic and social value. A man who is difficult to transform demonstrates emotional strength. A man who carries danger demonstrates power. The exception fantasy drives women toward men who demonstrate these qualities. Not because women consciously calculate, but because the will calculates beneath consciousness. The fantasy is not designed to make her happy. It's designed to make her select powerfully, and those are different objectives. Now you understand what most men never will. You've seen the exception fantasy in its full structure. Competition, transformation, danger. The mechanism of investment creating attachment. And the evolutionary truth beneath it all. But knowledge alone changes nothing. The question is, what do you do with it? The exception fantasy can be fulfilled without destruction, but only by a man who understands it. You don't make yourself endlessly available. You have a life. You have purpose. You don't reveal everything immediately. You open gradually. You provide challenge, mystery, and unpredictability within a framework of fundamental safety. You're not chaotic, you're complex. This is not permission to perform. This is invitation to grow. The exception fantasy will find you when you've done the work. When you've become the man who is genuinely difficult to replicate. Every woman carries the exception fantasy. Most men never see it. They argue with its symptoms. They stay confused their entire lives. But you've seen it clearly now. And with that understanding comes responsibility. Use this to become better. Use this to create genuine attraction. Use this to build relationships that fulfill both parties. She carries a fantasy she never confessed, the fantasy of being the exception. And now you know its architecture completely.